I'm Will, I'm the Bald Book Geek, and I'm on a different camera today. Where do we start? I read Onision's book, Stones for Abbigale. So, Onision is the resident relic of the early days of YouTube. And he's a creep who's had a hell of a lot of plastic surgery done. And he doesn't want people hate reading his book. But I blame you, Strange Eons, and I blame you, Crimson Rogue. Two fantastic YouTube channels I'm going to link in the doobly-doo. I had to read it. Luckily, I didn't pay money for it. Where do we start with this god-awful mess? So, I try and pick out positive points in books I don't like, but there isn't any. For me, anyway. There's like one line that remotely is interesting. But essentially, he wrote fan fiction about himself, and 60 pages in there is a school shooting and he single-handedly saves the day from a guy with an M16. His main character James is him to the point of ludicrousy. I'm not going to use any video of Onision in this because he's notorious for abusing the copyright system. But yeah, I've never read a book I have downright hated to the point of wow. I mean, like, even the formatting, because I know he has a fan offered to edit his novel and he had a massive bitch fit about it, and he's also a man that can't really cope with criticism. He deserves everything he gets, by the way. I mean, the way the book is laid out, the way the text is laid out, there's no paragraph breaks between the characters talking. Like, the first thing you're taught in any basic English class is to put spaces between things and breaks. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. All of the characters in this book are blank and basically show up at random. The book is written in forms of paragraph after paragraph without any actual interaction. Characters appear like that, as if by magic. Random person appears who does mean nothing, and is basically there just to compliment James. James is an arrogant, self-loving twat and deserves this
cunt of the month.
Basically, it's Onision's wank. This book is an idealised version of Onision in his own self-insert fanfiction, jacking off to himself. This book is shocking. And I have read some really bad books in my life, but this thing really is shocking. And I'm not just talking... I have strong opinions on YA literature, and I have very strong opinions on self-publishing. I don't believe in gatekeeping to anyone, but this book is prime example why editors are employed, why people are employed. I mean, even the cover is a photo of him looking all emo. I mean, even the president shows up at one point, and you're like, wow. And the over-description of everything, like, every little thing has a description. But what's needed isn't. It reads like fan fiction. It reads like My Immortal. It's like those really bad fanfics that are like 100 parts, each chapter being like 200 words, that's just throwing out different plot points to be dramatic, and they start contradicting each other. I mean, I've never known anything like this. It's kind of like a self-insert, and I've said this before, self-insert fanfiction by a 14-year-old incel. It drove me completely and utterly insane. It's poorly written. It's bad. I can't read any potential into it. His main character is a sociopath, a predator, preying on trauma and depression of a young girl. So, him, basically. I've read books and I thought this is bad. I mean, I've read Morgan Rice. But despite Morgan Rice being fanficky, there is actually a cohesive story there, even if it's terrible and isn't spelt right. This doesn't have anything. This is like 50 million things all churned into a very short novel. It's not even a book. It's a random mess of bullshit and crap. And I'm genuinely shocked by it. Like, get an editor, dude. But we all know an Onision won't.